Hey guys, how's it going? Sora here. Today we're going to be doing another action figure review. This time we're going to be taking a look at the LiMToys Tiger Stripe A++ version 1/12 scale collectible figure Aehab. It's a mouthful. Um, Again, by LiMToys. Before I go any further, I just want to address, yes, I'm going to have the fan on. You'll hear it in the background. It's like 100 plus degrees in California. I'm gonna keep it on. I'm not gonna sit here in the heat while I do this figure review. And also, I meant to post this figure review right as soon as I got it, but I was waiting on some components because the A++ version uh, came with missing parts. So this figure came in three different tiers. Basically, the more you paid, the more accessories you got. And the A++ version was advertised to come with certain accessories. They just didn't package in to the A++ version. And I thought about it a while. I sent a request to Giant Toy and also the LiMToys themselves, asking what do I do? And apparently it is a known issue. So if you have the A++ version and you're missing those accessories, definitely hit your retailer or wherever you got it from, give them a call, and maybe they can get it sorted for you because it is apparently a factory issue. So they can probably send it to you later. And I thought about waiting to do the review until after I've gotten it, but I was told that, it might take a while, and also I figured if I'm gonna review this figure, I'm gonna review it as I got it, missing parts and all, and I will temper my expectations and my opinion on it as such. So before we even get started with the action figure review, I'm gonna take a look at the box real quick. Normally, I don't really like to go into the box. I show it off, but this time, it's really, really cool. So as you see, it's the A++ version. They cannot legally call it Metal Gear Solid 5, which, by the way, this is not an officially licensed product. I don't know if I would call it a bootleg, but it's not licensed by Konami. It's not, they can't use the Metal Gear Solid name. They can't even call it Aehab. They have to spell it incorrectly. So, legally distinct Metal Gear Solid. But it does, however, have the 32nd anniversary of Metal Gear Solid on here. Which is, if I'm doing the math correctly, 1998 was when Metal Gear Solid came out, so that's kind of an interesting thing to include on there. It says The Phantom Legend, Full Vengeance, and on the back, it just has all the LiMToys stuff, contact information. On the sides, it just says the title of the figure. It's a really nice looking box, if I'm being honest, and it's tiny. Again, it's 1/12 scale. So, moving on. The figure, I got the A++ version, which came with a standard Venom snake head and a number of accessories, which we'll take a look at in 1 second. Apologies, by the way, if you hear my dog in the background. He's in here, he might start coughing, he's got his heart problems, but so you might hear him from time to time. But, moving on, so here are the accessories that the A++ version comes with. So what they did with the distribution of this figure was they took the standard S++ accessories tray, and they just basically removed parts from it, the lower tier you got. So there are parts in here that are missing. That's intended. So also comes with this whole thing, which it's not normally empty, but I took all the guns out. So I guess we can start with those. Let's start with the stun riot submachine gun, which is what I basically rock throughout the majority of the game. It's pretty well detailed. It's got the nice blue that indicates that it's not a lethal weapon. Apparently the stock on it is also removable. I don't want to mess with that at all. It's kind of a hard plastic. It's somewhat pliable, but I feel like I would snap and break it. Similar to, I don't know if you can tell, but the trigger finger on it, the trigger guard is broken in half because I tried to put the wrong hand on it. The magazine is removable, so that's pretty cool. Got nice details on it, nice coloring. Yeah, I don't know much about guns. I don't know anything about. You know what? I'll go ahead and say I don't know anything about guns. It is slightly bent, which I didn't really notice until much recently, but it doesn't really bother me too much. The other gun that the A++ version comes with is a suppressed assault rifle. The suppressor on these are non-removable. The magazines are removable on both of them, and the stock. And look, there's even a little bullet painted in and detailed in there. And the stock is also removable. But there's that. I don't know. It's just really nice. Lots of detail in the sculpt work. the paint on the magazine and the gun itself. I don't know, it looks really, really nice. So here's the main tray table that the figures come with. Let's start with the goggles. He has these goggles at the beginning of the game. It's like got some dust smudged all over the lenses on it, which is pretty cool. By the way, anytime you see any of these straps, these are non-elastic. These are just nylon straps. They do fit on the figure pretty well, which I can show you right here. It just goes like that. So it's not going to fall off anytime soon. I haven't really had a problem with any of these nylon straps, aside from the watch that I currently have attached to the figure, which is not as it comes in the box. The nylon strap they made for it is just a little too large, so you kind of have to ride it up the forearm a little bit higher than I would like. So there's that, just because it's not an elastic. But I guess even if it is an elastic, just because the way the arm is shaped, it would tend to move down, so I guess that's fine. He also comes with his Phantom cigar, which if I can get it out here. It just looks like a regular cigar, actually. It doesn't look like the Phantom cigar at all. But the smoke effect is meant to be a translucent blue to show off that it's like an e-cig or whatever. Pretty cool. And I don't know if it's intentional, but the smoke effect has like lines going down horizontally across it. Kind of makes it look more digital, like it does in the game. So, what else does he come with? He comes with his night vision goggles, which, look, it comes, I don't know if that's a, that can't be a glass piece. It's probably just like a very shiny sticker on it, but it looks like there's a lens in it. And again, it's got nylon straps. It doesn't actually have any eye holes on here, which is fine. You're never going to see those anyway. It fits over the figure really, really well, but it's got really cool detailing on it. Again, this figure's so small. I have, you see it in my hand. It's pretty tiny. He also comes with a mask, because even Venom Snake is prepared for the current situation. I don't know if these are intentional, the way that the nylon strap circles around. I don't know if that's what it's like in the game, but I know for a fact in real life that's not what that looks like. I've heard that people would have to take the head off to put this on, but I've never actually tried it. The head comes off pretty easily, by the way. On mine, at least, it's just like a standard peg. I assume if I wanted to mess with that, I would just glue it down, but I don't really care for that. He also comes with an iDroid, which if I can get it out of here. The iDroid, as featured in the game. I mean, the iDroid's pretty simple. Again, it's just a basic standard gray or gunmetal gray color that you would put on it. Orange button. That's pretty much it. It's got a hole in the sensor on it to accommodate for the hologram that pops out of it whenever Snake uses it. It is a little bit loose, though, I've found. So it's slightly loose. Also, it's green. I wish it was blue, but oh well. It holds on there pretty well, actually, but the first time I put it on there, it felt like I just kind of stuck it on there without... It didn't feel like it was locking in, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But that stays in here. So that's pretty much it as far as accessories. The only thing else he comes with are alternative hands. Oh, that's not true. He also comes packaged with alternate boots. And he comes with these standard boots on. You can see they're just sculpted. It's somewhat pliable. But because the figure's so small, it doesn't matter how pliable this material is, it's going to hinder the articulation. So what they did was they gave us like individual pegs. So these are what the pegs that came with the figure are. And they gave us longer ones, like they're spacers to make the figure a bit taller. And they cut the boots into two separate parts. So this is what I have them on as. I'm never going to use those boots ever again. But these are cut in such a way so that you can get some nice ankle rotation in there. So that's pretty neat, I think. And you can take the boot off. And you can turn this forward or sideways. So that way you get your ankle rockers, which way or the other. It's a neat concept. I do wish that they just had these instead. I don't really care for those standard boots whatsoever. Oh, and I am missing one more accessory, which is the gun, which is holstered right here in his pocket. He has a pistol. Can I take the magazine out of this pistol? It doesn't look like it. It looks like the magazine on this one is sculpted in. But it's very tiny. It does not come with a suppressor. It's the only one that doesn't come with a suppressor. And as you saw, it fits in the holster pretty nicely in there. I don't like to mess with it too much. So that's where it lives. One of my favorite parts about this figure is that the guns can all be stored on his person. And you might think, where are his holsters? Well, if I can get the figure to stand up for a second, I can show you. So, the submachine gun, I usually put it right here. And the assault rifle, I just kind of stick it in the back right there. If it fits properly. There you go. And this is one of the coolest parts of the figure, is that in the game, when you put guns on Snake, he doesn't really have any holsters for his big old weapons. It just kind of sticks on his back like that. And true to form, this figure just has the guns stick on him through the use of magnets. So the guns are magnetic, it clips on. The front is this canteen. So it's a pretty nice big magnet that you can, stick the gun onto. On the back, however, it's a little more vague. I think it's these little clips here, but I can't tell. It might be, but I think it's a little too small. It doesn't really hold the gun very well. Also, the S++ version would have you put 2 guns on him, and I don't know if that's going to hold very well, especially since one of them is meant to be a rocket launcher, but that's not my problem. But yeah, it just kind of sticks on the figure really well, which I quite like. But enough about the accessories. It's time to move on to the figure itself. Venom Snake, or Aehab, with an E. So it is a 1/12 scale figure. It scales pretty well with most of your standard, Black Series, Figma. Well, Figma's a little bit smaller, but, Mezcos and all that. And again, as I mentioned earlier, it does come with the alternate boot pieces, and the boot pieces come with spacers, so you can make it taller or shorter, however you like, to make them fit just a little bit better with your displays. But it's some pretty intricate detailing going on with this specific figure. He's wearing fatigues. He's wearing army fatigues. He's wearing like a bunch of harnesses. I like that they were able to incorporate his little demon tail right in back here. This pouch is completely cloth. The inside of it has some sort of stuff material in it. It looks like a piece of styrofoam to give it that shape. And oh, I forgot one accessory here, the knife, which gets stuck on the back of his pouch, and you can actually take the knife out. It's pretty sharp. I just kind of stick it in the space between the pouch and right here. I don't actually know how that knife sticks on him in game, but that's what it looks like to me. But you can see it is basically a tinier version of the 1/6 scale version of this exact same figure, also by LiMToys. So it's impressive how much they were able to translate to a 1/12 scale. The Diamond Dogs logo is illegible. But you get the idea. It's going to look like the Diamond Dogs logo from back here. On the side right here, the standard DD emblem that you start off with in the game. And the bionic arm. Really, really cool. Lots of detail here. You can't really talk much about the sculpt because it's wearing like a cloth figure. I guess I would, hats off to the seamstress. This part right here, though, is some sort of, not rubbery material, but it's very pliable. It's also got some wash on it to make it look dirty. Most of what you're going to be looking at, though, is the head sculpt, which I think it's a pretty decent approximation of Venom Snake's head. Gets all his cuts in there and whatnot. The ponytail is a little iffy. I feel like if I mess with that too much, it's going to fall right off. And you can see he has a hole for his demon horn. So I guess now would be a good time as any to start bringing up all the stuff that he's supposed to come with. So in the promotional art for this, he's supposed to come with a cardboard box, scarf, and stickers for the Walkman, the watch, and the cardboard box itself, and also the 3 different demon horns that you can have in game, which is very short, medium, and long. And these are all packaged together, and for whatever reason, the A++ version just straight up didn't come with it. And so as soon as I got it, I sent an email to LiMToys, sent an email to Giant Toy, and I said, hey, what the heck? And they were both well, first of all, LiMToys told me to go contact Giant Toy. Giant Toy told me to bear with them because apparently they've gotten multiple reports of this already, so they're gonna sort it out however they can. But they didn't tell me an estimated time, they just told me it's gonna take longer than usual, and I don't know what usual even means. You can see he's having a bit of trouble standing up, and it's some issue with the shoes a little bit. But it stands up pretty well. It's just I'm messing with the articulation there. You can get into stand. He has pretty good articulation. But, so those are the things that he's missing that I was going to wait on to review this figure as a whole package. But without those things, this figure still looks pretty cool. The only thing, though, is that he just has a big old hole in his head. And it's not that noticeable from back here. And if you're not even familiar with the series or the figure itself, well, first of all, why are you buying it? Second of all, you might not even notice it in the first place. But it's I paid extra for it, so give me the thing. But other than that, the figure just looks cool. These are all individually sewn on. It even comes with a little strap that the figure I didn't even notice it actually until I saw this on the figure, and I booted up the game, and sure enough, if you're wearing the standard fatigues, he comes with some sort of rope or thing right here, which I don't understand what it's for. But yeah, there's that. And again, this figure, despite all the fact that it's despite the fact that it's wearing all these clothes, it articulates pretty well. As you can see by removing the head, it's just a big old peg under there. It actually has 2 points of articulation, one at the top of the neck, one at the bottom. Looks like a ball joint on either end. This is supposed to come off with the head, but that's fine, I don't mind. It's because the S++ version has an alternative head. But seeing as I only had this one head, it's not really going to bother me. It appears that there's some sort of butterfly joint going on over here, but it's hindered a lot by the clothing. That's one thing I don't like about the clothing, is that he's got like a black shirt on underneath, and I don't know if that's supposed to be like a bib or a full-on sleeve t-shirt or a sleeveless shirt, but in some way, shape, or another, it is hindering the articulation just a little bit, which even without it, he still got all this stuff on. So be warned, you're not going to get a bunch of crazy poses out of him. But moving on, the arm can go out that way, can go all the way around, again hindered by the clothing. Has 1 point at the elbow, no, 2 points at the elbow. You can get pretty decent range on that one. The wrist, one of my few gripes about the articulation. Again, because it is a translated version of the 1/6 scale, they just kind of took the sculpt and shrunk it down. And unfortunately, the sculpt for the right hand... Dropped it. The sculpt for the right hand includes the whole glove, and this part of the glove is super pliable. But when you translate it to a 1/12 scale, it's not quite so pliable. So what this basically amounts to, even though you can see that it is a rotating a ball hinge joint, it's so tight in there that it's basically nothing. Maybe a rotation if you force it enough, but I don't want to force it. I just want to leave it alone. But the hands themselves are pliable. Like, you can see how much I'm moving it. This is the cigar holding hand, but looks like a standard relaxed but can hold things hand, so that's why I have it on. The left hand, however, has an exposed ball joint, so you can get all sorts of range in there. You can get it up and down. You can even turn this over to the side and get the side-to-side motion on that one. So, pretty decent range on the bionic hand. Again, also pliable. The torso has some sort of ab crunch on it, which can go back really... Oh, no torso thing, but down to the waist. So you can see the joint is down here. My dog. I left all the stuff in front of his water bowl. I'm sorry, Charlie. But pretty decent range going backwards. Not so much forward. This is pretty much the extent of his going forward, because there's no... If there is an ab crunch or rib cage joint there, then I can't get to it because of how much stuff is on here. The legs go out a little bit, just a little bit. Goes up just a little bit, goes back just barely. This knee can go all the way back there, hindered by this thing. This can go a little bit. This is a bit easier to pull that back. This one you might get some give, but you can see they kind of reach basically the same thing. And because I have these boots on, they have the swivel, and the boot itself, or the foot itself, is attached on a ball joint, but also I got some ankle rockers on here, which can move it side to side or forward to back depending on how I have that pin turned. So all in all, it's a pretty well articulated figure. It does have some trouble standing. Me messing with the articulation that much can cause him to fall apart just a little bit. But I don't know. For a figure like this, I'm not gonna have him in too many crazy action poses. Maybe every once in a while. I would worry that because it's not like a real product, it's a phantom product, if you will, that the joints on it might not be up to par as to what you're used to if this was an officially licensed product. So just be warned when you're playing around with this to not stress the joints out too much that way. But as a standard figure, even missing all those all those accessories, it's pretty good. And again, it's crazy how much detail they were able to pack in to such a tiny figure. So just to show off how tiny this figure is, I'm going to do some size comparisons with some pretty standard lines that you see every now and again. Here he is standing next to the Skyward Sword Link figure by Figma, and again, Figmas are 1/12 scale, but they do run a little smaller. This one is closer to true 12 inches. Here he is standing next to the only other cloth figure, or clothed figure that I own, which is the Mezco Sovereign Knight. You can see he's rocking out with his bat guitar right here. The Batman is more comic book proportions. His muscles and his head are a little bit bigger. He's a little bit taller than Snake here, but they're pretty much in scale with each other. Couple more. Here he is with the Christmas Town Sora Bring Arts by Square Enix, and Sora is meant to be a younger person, so it's only natural he'd be a little bit shorter than Venom Snake here, so I'd say these two scale pretty well as well. And lastly, I want to put him right next to the Mandalorian, the Black Series Mandalorian by Hasbro, and he's a little bit shorter. He's a little bit shorter than Snake. Actually, they're just about the same size, but I don't know, maybe his torso is a little bit smaller or something like that, but his head is just big because he's got a helmet on that puts him at the same height as Snake. But I'm sure if he took the head off, he'd be a little bit smaller. But realistic proportions aside, they're pretty much the same exact same size figure. But that's pretty much it. As far as my consensus is on this figure, from what I got in the box, this figure is fine. Should it have come with it? Yes. Yes, it definitely should. Because one, you advertise it as such. Number two, this figure got delayed for like an entire year, and they were able to fix the feet, give us these articulated boots. I wish they had done the same with the hand. That's my only gripe with the articulation. As far as the whole package goes, I don't know because I didn't get the whole package of the figure. So we'll see. I mean, it's not really much, but I did want that scarf, and the horns and the cardboard box. So it's pretty notable. It's a not a majority of the accessories, but it's a good portion of it. So for it to just come up missing like that, I was a little bit disheartened, especially having waited all this time for the pre-order of this figure to come out, and then for it to just come out incomplete. Nah, kind of sucky. But disregarding that, the figure itself is still pretty impressive. The amount of articulation, the amount of accessories it comes with, first of all, is pretty good. The amount of detail it comes with the army fatigues and the harnesses and all that, pretty great. So that's it for me. It gets a resounding go buy it. If you've liked Metal Gear, go buy it. Look it up on look it up on Giant Toy, KG Hobby, all those websites. I'm sure someone will point you in the right direction. Again, I bought mine at Giant Toy. I've never really had a problem with them. Their customer service is pretty good. I usually get my stuff from them, though I haven't ordered from them a lot. So we'll see. But this seems to not be an issue with Giant Toy, but seems to be an issue with LiMToys themselves. So we'll see how they handle getting these shipped out. And that's it for me. And I'll see you guys next time. Maybe you'll get an update video with me with the rest of the accessories for this guy in the future. But until then, I'm going to sign off. Hope you all have a fantastic day. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.